across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Good evening and welcome to the Political Asylum right here on Talk. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan and I'll be your host for the next 3 thrilling hours of news, views and topical debate all the way to 10 o'clock. Get involved, get stuck in and call me on 03444991000 or you can WhatsApp voice note me on the same number and I promise to play your message out. It is Thursday, October the 16th. Here's what's coming up. This is a serious story, folks, a very worrying story, as more and more migrants are convicted and charged with serious violent crimes and sex offences. Parents all over the country are increasingly worried about asylum seeker hotels that are close to schools. Mothers and fathers of the kids at the Cherry Lane Primary School in West Drayton to the west of London are especially concerned over the number of young foreign men who gather outside the school grounds. One dad, who says the migrants ripped holes in the playground fences so they could leer at the children, was so alarmed he went to the scene personally and repaired the barriers himself. He says that this escalating problem endangers the 640 pupils on a daily basis. We've been told that the menacing migrants mill around for hours on end. We'll show you some footage, some videos soon that kind of prove this. And they get to the school through an underground walkway that runs beneath the busy M4 motorway not far from Heathrow Airport. If any of you ever use the M4, I can envisage this place. We'll show you a picture, but it's a massive Holiday Inn. Many of them are billeted at this nearby huge 600-room Holiday Inn. On Saturday, parents of the 3 to 11-year-olds who attend Cherry Tree Lane Primary are set to stage a peaceful protest, similar to those that have unfolded in the Essex town of Epping, where an asylum seeker at the Bell Hotel has just been jailed for a year after sexually assaulting a local 14-year-old girl and then groping a poor lady who tried to prevent the attack. All of this ongoing threat to the safety of women, children, and all of us is down to years of open border madness, letting into the country thousands and thousands of young men, sexually active, that kind of age, about whom we know nothing. Who do you blame for this insanity? 03444991000. Also tonight, more pointless tinkering around the edges as our latest useless Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, sends British border security officers to the Balkans to, you guessed it, smash the gangs. Good luck with that, Shabana. Leave the ECHR or just forget it. 03444991000. Plus, does anyone in the entire country believe Keir Starmer's transparent lie that the government did not collapse the Chinese spy trial? 03444991000. And in an hour or so, I'll be joined by Durham County Council Deputy Leader, Reform UK's Darren Grimes, to get his take on Labour's continuing delay in launching the public inquiry two-tier Keir promised us into the rape gang scandal. 5 months after reluctantly conceding that the worst sex abuse scandal in British history did in fact warrant a full forensic legal investigation into what has gone so horrendously wrong, the government says it's having trouble finding someone to chair the inquiry. Labour never wanted this. Because, of course, all over the country where the worst of this happened, and by the way, it's still going on, it was usually a Labour administration, Labour local councils. Labour's up to there in it. So they can't find anyone to chair the inquiry. They're having trouble also with the remit of the inquiry. When they say they can't find anyone to chair the inquiry, my suspicion is they can't find anyone who's going to be nice to Labour and nice to the Islamic community. But are you buying their delays, the reason for their delays. What do you reckon? 03444991000. Also tonight, more green hypocrisy as clean air fanatic London mayor celebrates his 55th birthday on a billionaire's planet-destroying super yacht. You couldn't make this stuff up, could you? And Starmer's latest bid to destroy Britain's special relationship with America by going against Donald Trump's express wishes and signing up to the useless United Nations stupid net zero tax on global shipping that could send the price of domestic goods soaring by 10%. Madness. And finally, Kinsey Schofield, our royal guru, on the new charity scandal engulfing Meghan Markle. All that and so much more, so don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, the home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Thursday night together. And it being Thursday, always look forward to this in the studio this week. Very special. The senior fellow at the New Culture Forum, Philip Kisley. Hello, Philip.
Hi, Kev. It's great to be with you.
Always a pleasure, and we've got some good stuff to talk about, or some very harrowing stuff to talk about. This is the story of a primary school in West Drayton. It's to the west of London. It's near Heathrow Airport. Now, parents will stage an emotional protest on Saturday because they are increasingly worried about the crowds of young migrant men who mill around outside the school gates, peering through the barriers around the playground and upsetting the little kids. We're going to talk to a concerned dad in a moment who was so worried about this. Now, his name is James Timms. He's going to join us in a second. His daughter isn't used to attend there. She's now 16 years old, but he keeps in touch with the school and he worries about the local primary place. And he was so worried about these barriers being sort of holes in these barriers being ripped down that he went there personally himself and repaired them.
Brilliant.
Also, 3 weeks ago, we'll show you some of these migrants walking down the street, escorted by police officers, or those what do you call them, special police officers, I think. Apparently 3 weeks ago, the police were actually stationed on the gate amid rising concerns. The local community is alarmed. Now, this is a syndrome, a sinister syndrome, that I think we're going to hear more and more about. Asylum seeker hotels very close to schools. And now, of course, these young men, mostly young migrant men, young men from different cultures on the other side of the world, the Middle East, who are not allowed to work, so they're milling around, they've got nothing to do. And so they just tend to gather outside school gates, around the barriers of the playground, and it's just a very, very worrying situation. So while we talk to James Timms, local resident and worried parent, we're going to show you some of the video that the local parents have taken. Some of it is just extraordinary. There's these images of these two guys. There's a little playground, these little kids in the background, and they're sitting there smoking this massive, great sheesh pipe. You'll get the picture as we show you the pictures. So without further ado, let's go over to local resident, concerned parent, James Timms. James, we spoke earlier. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, tell us. Tell us about why you went to the school to carry out your own repairs. What has been going on that has caused such concern? Tell us what happened.
Well, really, it's where to start. I mean, this has been going on for a number of weeks. My daughter, as you explained, used to go to this school, and my ex-sister-in-law also has children that go to this school. We did have the intention of covering the railings with some union tracks to try and promote, you know, this isn't a division of ethnicities or anything like that. But instead of doing so, when I approached the railing, you could see the amount of fencing that had been pulled down.
Right. And you went in the middle of the night, didn't you, to repair this yourself? Yeah.
Yes, I did. It was around about midnight. That it just got to a point where something had to be done.
Right. And how many? So I think there's actually 640 kids at this school. So it's a very big school, and we've seen the video. We're going to play that in a minute. But it's extraordinary the number of migrants, obviously mostly young males, asylum seekers who have chosen to gather around the school, and obviously parents are very concerned about this, and it's presumably it's quite upsetting for the kids.
Oh yeah, the numbers of children that are now terrified of going out and playing in the evenings outside in the local areas, local parks, stuff like that. So parents have now restricted this completely. This is now completely off grids now, because the community just don't feel safe with undocumented men who, you know, it's been proven that there are links to the Taliban and Brotherhood, you know, completely no background checks done whatsoever, and are just being allowed to walk freely on the streets, knowing that there's schools.
Yeah, this is it's kind of a bad line, unfortunately. What they do is we'll try and re-establish a decent link with James, but if we can, what they do, I'm with Philip Kisley, as I say, perhaps we could just discuss about this. People who drive along the M4 will know this hotel. It's a massive Holiday Inn with more than 600 rooms. And there's an underground walkway that goes beneath the M4. And apparently all the asylum seekers, they just wander underneath the M4. And when they come up, they're pretty much almost at the school. And there are grass areas around there, seats and things where they can, where they sit down. And you know, start smoking sheesh pipes. But we'll, as I say, we'll show the video in a minute. But they're milling around all over the place, and this is very similar to what's been going on in Epping at the Bell Hotel. So the story really is the increasing concern about the proximity of some asylum hotels to schools, and particularly if you're dealing with primary schools. You know, these kids are from the age of 3 to 11. Parents are going to stage a similar protest to the ones we've been seeing in Epping this weekend. But I think we're going to hear more and more of this sort of thing.
We are, and first of all power to those parents, and all power to the gentleman there. Just brilliant that they are taking a stand, because they need to, because other people won't do. We know, I saw some stats yesterday, the people who are coming into the country, they're coming in from places like Afghanistan, Eritrea and Somalia. Okay, these people think of children and women as possessions. They think they're just there to be bartered. And what's really, really worrying about these people is, I was looking actually at the basic general IQs of these countries. Okay, so the average IQ in Somalia is 67. Okay, and the average IQ in this country is 100. So if you have people of very low intelligence, or at least not equipped to deal with a sophisticated, fairly highly sexualized society like our own, then we are really heading for trouble. But why are they hanging around primary schools? We know damn why they're hanging around primary schools.
Yeah, I mean, this is you know, obviously the implication that you know, there's bad intent here, leering at little girls and little boys, and well, this is what the parents are worrying about. Hopefully we'll get James Thames back in a minute, and hopefully we'll get to see some of this video. But as we saw in Epping, and it's not the only place, it's the school thing. that is a problem?
It's the school thing. It's completely the school thing. They're drawn to children. They are drawn to vulnerable people, and they've got nothing to do. They're highly sexualised, obviously, because they're all young men. This is all, as I've just said, this is a fairly highly sexualised culture, and it's crazy to them, you know.
Okay, listen. Before we're going to go back to James in just a little while, but let's just to make sure that everybody can see this. This is some of the video that parents have taken themselves. So these are, if you can watch as well, Philip. So these are some of the migrants walking along the local. Look at that. See, great crowds of them there, being escorted by, I think, what do you call them, the special constabulary officers, the special coppers there. These are all the local streets. Now, this is around the school. So you can see why they gather there, because there's nice green areas. So there's some, incredibly, I think in a little while, look at that. This is right outside the school. Two guys smoking sheesh pipes. And there's the playground in the background. So this is what's happening around Cherry Lane Primary School in West Drayton as we're talking. Look at this. Look at this.
I've never seen anything like it. Look at the state.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at this. You see, so that, as I say, what they've done, folks and Philip, is they've come through this underground tunnel walkway, a pedestrian pathway that goes underneath the M4 from this massive hotel, 600-room Holiday Inn. People who use the M4, I could immediately picture this hotel. I think we'll show you a picture of it in a second, but it's quite a famous hotel with motorists using the M4. Well, look, you've seen now what's been going on, so I think we've managed to re-establish, I hope, a good link with James Timms. James, we've just seen that video. I mean, you know, right up to the two guys sitting around smoking sheesh pipes outside a primary school. I mean, that is a shocking image, isn't it?
To be honest, you know, a lot of the kids and parents, you know, this is now becoming a normal thing. And, you know, and something's got to change.
So,
I mean, it's
well,
sorry.
So 3 weeks ago, I believe that it got so bad that police was stationed. We've reached out to the police and we've reached out to the school.
Yeah.
The police haven't got back to us. They're going to get back to us, and we haven't heard from the school. But 3 weeks ago, you were telling me that there were coppers stationed on the school gates. And just to sort of go off piece for a second, your daughter attended that school some years ago. She's now 16, but another story of this sort of migrant crisis, if you like, this asylum seeker crisis. Tell us what happened to her in Uxbridge.
So she was out one evening with a couple of her friends and was approached by two migrants. She disclosed at her age that she was 16 and that she had no interest in any sort of social activities with these two. They then walked away, or as my daughter believed, they walked away and left to find out and realise that he had actually hung around and actively waited until she was on her own to then pin her against the wall and basically force himself on her and grope her.
And you reported this to the police. You've got a crime number, but you haven't really heard. This was how long ago, James?
This has got to be at least about 6 weeks ago.
And you haven't heard anything since?
No, nothing at all.
So we're just, again, we're looking at this, you know, really crowded streets, these migrants, and this video was taken by parents, and you've got a WhatsApp group going, haven't you? And on Saturday there's going to be a peaceful protest. Tell us about that.
Yeah, on the 18th we're starting at one of the local pubs in the area, and we are doing a peaceful demonstration up to the hotels. We are then got a big family event after that. So we will do a walk up to the hotels to show that, you know, the community and numbers, you know, we are concerned parents. We you know, enough is enough. But we are now bringing in, you know, this isn't about division of ethnicities. This isn't about, you know, the fact that one guy is Chinese and one guy is from India. This is about the fact that we have undocumented men walking the streets of this country, of this borough. And, you know, the kids, the future of this country is dependent upon people like myself and other parents standing up and saying enough is enough. So please, on the 18th, it's a family event. We've got stuff for the kids, bouncy castles, face paints.
Okay, peaceful protest. We're just looking at a map here, James. Of this, you can see the huge M4 there, and the pathway that obviously goes underneath the M4 and makes its way very close to the Cherry Lane Primary School. So almost literally, when they come out of the underpass, the pedestrian underpass, they're pretty much there. And I assume half the reason that they mill around there is there's some green areas, there's chairs to sit on.
I mean, the video footage that you showed of the police escorting the migrants, that was only filmed yesterday.
That was yesterday. That was
only filmed yesterday. That was them collecting their phones, their SIM cards, their money vouchers, and basically food and stuff like that to be able to snack in between their 3 meals a day that they've already been prepared by the hotel for them, you know. And we've got vets on the street that have done nothing but serve their country and are just being told to, sorry, you know, there's nothing we can do.
That's right.
The borough is under massive strain. I mean, Hillingdon Council have already declared that they are bankrupt. And unfortunately, our borough is housing the most illegal migrants in the country.
That's true. I've read that. So Hillingdon, which is near to Heathrow Airport, encompassing West Drayton, the area we're talking about, which is where you're from, isn't it? This is like Asylum Seeker Central. It's got the biggest number of asylum seekers of any.
The hotel is a hub. But when they're brought in, we believe, but obviously don't quote me on that, that this is where they're being brought to, is the Crown Plaza Hotel. As we see coaches of them, just coaches and coaches pulling up week after week. And they're just being handing everything and anything that they want.
It's terrible. And now tell us about your daughter. Is she? That must have been a traumatizing experience for her. Is she okay?
Yeah, she's very brave. She has turned around and said that she was happy to give a victim impact statement because she doesn't want this to happen to any other children.
We're just looking at, James, while you're talking, we're just looking at the Holiday Inn in question. A lot of motorists. I mean, I could immediately envisage this when we were talking earlier. It's a very kind of famous, massive Holiday Inn just by the M4 after you've come past Windsor, right? Or so huge, more than 600 rooms apparently. That's where they all stay. And then
there has been an update that they've actually now opened half of the hotel to the members of the general public.
That must be nice for them. Well, listen, James, thank you so much for talking to us.
No, thank you.
And good luck with your event, your peaceful protest on Saturday. And, you know, I hope the kids are all okay. That was James Timms, local resident. You got the idea there. I mean, pretty shocking.
It's just about priorities, isn't it? The local council there is prioritising a bunch of undocumented, as he says, strangers, men, over vulnerable children. That's the story. That's what it's about.
Yeah. It really is. So let me know what you think about that, folks. But I fear, you know, it's very similar to what was going on in Epping. These are parents worried about the proximity of the Asylum Seeker Hotel, the local, to a school. I think the school in Epping was for older kids, but this school, big school, 640 kids go there from the age of 3 to 11. And you saw what's going on. I mean, should little kids, while they're in the playground, be looking at guys smoking sheesh pipes outside? I don't think that in itself. I mean, no one's saying necessarily that any of these guys are, you know, doing bad things, but you can see why local parents would be worried. Let me know what you think. 0344 499 1000. We'll talk about another aspect of the migrant crisis, of course, when we come back.
I was actually speaking to Google about their AI image creator a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they're really pulling back from the whole copyright issue because they don't want to assume knowledge about the user. So, for instance, you know, if I create an image of me wearing like, I don't know, like a Nike t-shirt and said, you know, I've got a collab with Nike, they would create the image because they don't know whether I do have a collab with Nike or not. And so they don't want to assume too much. So they're really trying to shift responsibility onto the user for what you're creating with the AI, rather than them being the sort of arbiters.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's talk, shall we, about the migrant crisis again. This is, we say this all the time, but this government, the audience will be sick of me saying this, but I'm going to say it again. We need to, if we don't leave the ECHR, they are doomed to just tinker around the edges. Also, you know, we keep hearing Shabana Mahmood, the new tough Home Secretary. She's going to real crack down. She's going to sort it out. The Terminator, they call her. She's not going to terminate anything. If she doesn't stop giving them, here goes the thing you've heard me say millions of times, but it bears repeating. If she doesn't stop giving these people who break into our country illegally 4-star hotels to live in, free food, free doctors, free dentists, and free lawyers to fight their case to stay, plus all the other free stuff that they get, you know, free driving lessons, free video consoles, and they're going to be kind, you know. There's a thing called the Asylum Seeker Support Scheme, and over 5 years we gave these people who broke into our country illegally £6.6 billion worth of free stuff. If we don't stop all of that, how is she going to solve the migrant crisis? Of course they're going to keep coming. And she says things like today's the big announcement. It's talking of tinkering around. We're going to send border security officers to the Balkans to close down the corridor through which migrants come, you know, through Greece and North Macedonia and Turkey and Serbia. And by the way, they're going to go equipped with British night goggles and British drones. Well, good luck with that, Shabana. What is that going to... This is just performative, headline hunting claptrap, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's completely sidestepping the issue, which you've just articulated perfectly. And we just keep saying all the time, don't we? I say this on every platform I go on, and I say it here all the time. Look, the only way she's going to deal with this is, one, to stop the benefits, okay? That's what you've just said, essentially. Two...
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot we give them 50 quid a week.
And we give them 50 quid a week, right.
I always forget, I've got to get that bit into my routine. I keep forgetting that. 50 quid a week.
To stop the boats, you've got to stop the benefits. And then we've got to deport criminals. We've got to deport criminals and their families who are also coming over eventually. And to really deal with the problem in a long-term way, we've got to institute some kind of Scandinavian-type voluntary remigration scheme in the long term for people, an attractive scheme that will take them back to where they come from, because we've got a situation, Kev, in certain places in this country, places like, I think I've mentioned this before, but places like Oldham, Rochdale, Huddersfield. Huddersfield is 35% Muslim, okay? This is fundamentally changing our culture, fundamentally changing our society. So we really need to do something about it. We need to do something about it in a voluntary, humane way, but we do need to do something about it.
And that's the story we just did, the Cherry Lane Primary School. These are scenes that are unfolding all over the country. Why is that happening? Why are kids at primary school surrounded by mobs of migrants? You know, I'm not necessarily saying these migrants are all, you know, nefarious people with bad intent. They got nothing else to do. But parents, so they look at all these, young men of sexually active age from cultures that are very different to ours, milling around school gates, looking at the kids. Why are we having to put up with this? It is outrageous. Meanwhile, as I say, Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, our latest completely useless Home Secretary, announces she's sending border security officers to the Balkans in order to try to sort of shut down the corridor for migrants coming through Turkey, Greece, North Macedonia, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And guess why she's sending them there, folks? I'm not kidding you. To smash the gangs. I mean, if you didn't laugh, you'd cry. And I'm not taking this seriously, but this is a sick joke, isn't it?
It's a sick joke because quite literally we cannot police our own borders. So that has...
Well, we could if we wanted to.
Yes, that's become completely evident over the last few months. So to move it away from that, we have to go hundreds and hundreds of miles away to the Balkans to try and police there. It's absolutely absurd. And this is a woman, don't forget, who's marched beneath a Palestinian flag.
Yeah. And by the way, who, when she was just an MP, went to Greece, I think it was to the island of Kos, to hand out food parcels to illegal migrants who'd come from the Middle East and Africa. And she made this video saying, getting food parcels, these poor people, That's her mindset. That's her worldview. She likes migrants. But I'm not saying that she won't try to sort this thing out, but, she's hamstrung by Labour's ludicrous addiction to human rights. And if we don't leave the European Convention on Human Rights and we don't wrestle ourselves out of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Human Rights, we can't make our own sovereign decisions because we can be overruled. So leaving the ECHR won't solve everything at a stroke, but it is the absolutely crucial, necessary first step. If you don't do that, we haven't got a chance of solving it. And all this nonsense, drones, night goggles.
No, it's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd. What we need to do is dismantle the mechanism that is making this happen to us.
Exactly. And yesterday she hosted the other thing is international cooperation. That's what... No, I mean, of course international cooperation is not a bad idea. We should be talking to the Balkan nations. What can you do to shut this down? We should be talking to countries like Libya, like Italy is, in order to stop... Libya is busy stopping quite a few boats leaving for crossing the Mediterranean to make their way here. I mean, I'm not against international cooperation, but when Shabana Mahmood sort of puts it forward, as she did yesterday, as the be-all and end-all that will solve this crisis, no. If you want to solve the crisis, leave the ECHR. If you like, turn the bloody boats around or deport. Start getting tough. Stop giving them free stuff. 50 quid a week, I've just remembered. Free food, free accommodation, free lawyers, free dentists, free... of course they're going to come across. Stop all this. It's insane. If we don't do this, as I say, if this government doesn't do any of that, which it won't, because it's addicted to human rights, then it's got no chance whatsoever of solving this crisis, and we are doomed to listen to their performative, headline-hunting claptrap that will achieve the square root of sod all. Shabana Mahmood, I'm sorry to say, is the latest completely weak, feeble, useless Home Secretary, the latest in a long line, who will not solve the migrant crisis. Let me know what you think. 03444 991 when we come back, I'm going to ask the question, is Starmer lying when he says that the government had nothing to do with the collapse of the Chinese spy trial? And before you sort of ponder that question, the answer is yes. We'll talk about that after the break.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Well, let's briefly talk about the Chinese spy trial. Well, you know what happened with these two no-marks, these little guys. One was a civil servant, the other was some kind of teacher. They were basically selling secrets to China. They deny that. That's the allegation. There was going to be a court case. And the government, so the story goes, refused to allow the prosecution, the CPS if you like, to use the argument that China was an enemy of this state, an enemy of the British state. They didn't want to upset China. And so the CPS, Crown Prosecution Service, said, well, if we can't say that, the entire prosecution collapses, falls down. So the trial was cancelled and these two guys walked. As I say, important to stress, they deny the offences. Now, you know, it is as clear as night follows day that the government is up to here in this. Their chief security advisor, Jonathan Powell, seems to be the mover and the shaker who said, oh no, we don't want to go down that road. We've got to stay on the right side of China. And that collapsed the trial. I'm not sure it would have collapsed the trial, actually. I still think they could have put up a good case, but that, you know, that's history now. But Starmer and his crew have been pathetically squirming around, saying, oh no, not us, Gov, nothing to do with us. The CPS saying, well, as far as we're concerned, it is to do with you. And frankly, Philip, no one is believing a word that these inveterate liars from our Labour government are saying.
No, I mean, if you think about historically as well, if you think about things like Kim Philby and Burgess and McLean and all of that kind of stuff, this is, it's not quite up there, but it's really serious stuff. And the government is up to, as you say, up to its eyes in it. You know, the reason it can't go any further with this hostile power, the most powerful hostile regime on the planet, is that the government have said, well, they're not hostile. Of course they're hostile. You know, and it feels as though we're stupid. We are making ourselves victims, and it's almost like we're looking at an aggressive tiger here and making a meal of ourselves.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
Yeah. So the two suspects who deny all the charges against him were Christopher Cash, a 30-year-old ex-parliamentary researcher, and a guy called Christopher Berry, who's a 33-year-old teacher. They were charged last year with passing politically sensitive information to a Chinese agent between December 2021 and February 2023. As I say, they deny those charges, and their case against them has collapsed. And the Director of Public Prosecutions has directly blamed the government's refusal to brand China a threat. Now, Starmer is trying to say this was nothing to do with the government, and worse than that, Philip, he's trying to blame the Tories because this case did start. Everything that ever happens with it. Wow, yeah,
it's a spying black hole. Yeah.
You've got old Rachel from accounts, you know, absolutely destroying the economy. Well, it's not my fault. It's the Tories. I left the black hole. Yeah. Oh, we believe you. So he's now saying, "Oh, it's the Tories. It's the Tories." Well, look, it is true that this case began under the Tories, and a witness statement was taken from Jonathan Powell's deputy, Matthew Collins, who in the great scheme of things, in the great tradition, is now taking all the flak.
Yeah.
You know, when the crap really hits the fan, you know what happens in the establishment, in the government? Deputy heads will roll. They're desperately sort of circling the wagons around Jonathan Powell. No, it wasn't him. No, it was. Yes, it was. Of course it was. But it wasn't the Tories who decided to tell the CPS, I'm sorry, we will not stand up in court and say China is an enemy and a threat. It was Labour. It was Labour. Basically, this is just Starmer and his gang lying again.
It's Starmer and his gang lying again, and it's just one more thing, isn't it? And we keep stacking all these things up. We talk about these things every week. It's stupidity on the one hand, it's naivety, it's lies, and it's downright incompetence as well, okay? Incompetence on a grand scale here, on a global scale, dealing with a very, very dangerous opponent. And these two little people who've denied all of this stuff, and that's fine. But then again, you know, if I was up for treason, I would deny it as well, because it's fairly serious.
Yeah, Richard Dearlove, Sir Richard Dearlove, who was formerly the head of MI6 during this phase, he was on. He's a good guy. He's now, you know, free from the shackles of espionage and is able to speak relatively freely, although he still sits on a lot of serious secrets. He was on Julia Hartley-Brewer's show this morning, and he could barely disguise his rage. He did say, he essentially said that what we've got here is a mixture of crass incompetence by this government and lying.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Yeah. And that sums our government up, doesn't it? A toxic cocktail of utter incompetence and lying. That's all they do. Yeah. And that, I mean, Rachel Reeves at the moment, I mean, you know, come on. Do you really think that we're buying it? I didn't realise that the economy going into the toilet wasn't her fault. I didn't realise it was all down to the Tories and new enemy, Brexit. I mean, God damn it, who do they think we are? They think we're 3 years old.
I mean, it's just like we're fighting on so many fronts and losing on so many fronts. They're allowing 1,000 small boat kind of migrants coming in a day, almost. You know, so that's within the country. Outside of the country, just as serious. We've got all of these hostile powers lining up because they know that the government is stupid, and now America is looking at us and thinking, yes, the government is stupid as well, and not taking us seriously. In many ways, America and Donald Trump not taking us seriously is the most worrying thing.
Yeah, by the way, America are extremely concerned about this spy trial. Let's quickly watch before we go to break. This is Kemi Badenoch challenging Starmer on this China crisis yesterday in Parliament.
On Monday, the security minister repeatedly told the House that ministers did not take decisions, that it was the Deputy National Security Advisor who had full freedom. Is the government seriously saying that only one man, the Deputy National Security Advisor, had anything to do with this failure? Is he seriously saying that the Deputy did not discuss with the National Security Advisor, did not discuss with the Home Secretary or with anyone in Downing Street? Is the Prime Minister seriously saying that?
Yes. Well done, Kemi. Kemi's getting better, you know. That was very good. And Tom Tugendhat today, the former Armed Forces Minister, Tory now, of course, a Tory MP now, he stood up in Parliament today. He was furious. I mean, he's a mild-mannered guy. And he said, the government is actually trying to tell us that this entire decision about effectively collapsing this trial, saying, no, Britain will not concede that China is a threat, that entire massive national decision was made not by the chief security advisor, unelected Jonathan Powell, but by his deputy, a civil servant called Matthew Collins. Tom Tugendhat said, well, if that is the case, he said, here we are, 650 MPs, we might as well all pack up and go home. Because we clearly have no role to play in governing this country. Tom Tugendhat is right, Kemi Badenoch is right, and, you know, well, let me know what you think, but you're not really allowed to use this kind of phrase now, but if Keir Starmer's telling the truth, I'm a Chinaman. Probably I'll get in trouble for that, but, you know, wordplay and all that. I think it's allowed. Let's go to break. When we come back, I want to ask Philip about academia, the kind of culture that produces this lunatic, this mad little boy from Tunbridge Wells, who came up with this death chant for the Jews, and who now finds his whole life being destroyed by his own stupidity. But I just wonder, you know, what's going on when somewhere like Oxford University produces, you know, an idiot, a maniac like this. We'll talk about that when we come back.
I was actually speaking to Google about their AI image creator a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they're really pulling back from the whole copyright issue because they don't want to assume knowledge about the user. So for instance, you know, if I create an image of me wearing like, I don't know, like a Nike t-shirt and said, you know, I've got a collab with Nike, they would create the image because they don't know whether I do have a collab with Nike or not. And so they don't want to assume too much. So they're really trying to shift responsibility onto the user for what you're creating with the AI rather than them being the sort of arbiters.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. We covered this story last night, but Dr. Philip Kisley here is a product of academia. He knows all about it, so I thought it'd be good to talk to him. We are going to talk about Samuel Williams, the 20-year-old class warrior from the mean streets of Tunbridge Wells. He's now a student. He's a student at Balliol College in Oxford, where he's studying PPE. Politics, philosophy and economics. What else? It's what all the lefties discover. Also, the only lefty I think who ever did do PPE, who isn't a lefty, was Julia Hartley-Brewer. No, but it's what the politicos do that. Anyway, he's studying that, and he is the guy who has now been arrested. He was filmed at the pro-Palestine Jew hate march on Saturday in London, shouting, "Yeah, we've been workshopping this chant." Have we got the chant? Yeah. Well, let's have a look at young Samuel in action.
I don't want to yap for too long, but a chant that we've been workshopping in Oxford that maybe you guys want to join in. It goes, Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud, put the Zios in the ground.
Well, you've been workshopping. It doesn't even rhyme. It's pathetic. Is that the best Oxford can do? Thank God he's not doing literature. But anyway, that Zios, of course, are Jews. Gaza, Gaza, make us proud. Everybody knows that means Hamas, Hamas, make us proud. Put the Jews in the ground is basically what he's saying. He's now been arrested. He's been suspended by Balliol College. Frankly, I'm not a great one for calling for people to be sacked or dismissed or whatever. But I think if Oxford have got any decency about them, they're going to have to kick him out, aren't they?
They are. I mean, this is just straightforward Jew hate. I mean, first of all, they should kick him out for using the word workshopping and workshopping any, workshopping. Absolute no. But this is, if you just look at him, he's like the Milky Bar Kid gone rogue, isn't he?
with his Yasser Arafat scarf.
I encountered
just a joke.
I encountered so many of these people in academia, these beta males who are followers, who are sexually frustrated and insecure about themselves, and they have this extremism, this political extremism as a kind of cover for all that. That's essentially what it's all about, and the fact that they really hate us. Right, and they hate Jews, and they hate because they see us as evil. Now, we see the left as wrong and stupid and misguided and all of that kind of thing, but we don't want them dead. That's the difference between them and us, and that whole attitude, that whole obsession just infects academia.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Once before I was interviewing a professor, kind of like an independent-minded professor from Cambridge. I said, why is everybody, apart from you, and you, Philip, why is everybody at university, professors, lecturers, students, they all seem to be victims of a kind of almost a mass hysteria groupthink? Yeah. And he said because they are literally like a cult.
They are. It is a cult, and it's really weird to be inside it, okay? Because they egg each other on, and when they love these little moments of hysteria, these little spikes of hysteria. So when it was BLM, and I was working in the sector, I was on a Zoom meeting because everybody was locked down at the time, and they were talking about their white privilege, and one of them started crying. I'm not joking. One of them started
That's what you mean
crying.
about beta males.
Yeah,
gamma male.
Yeah. So one of them started crying, and then they say, well, my privilege. I shouldn't be teaching students of colour. It's that kind of thing, and they all get off on it. It's almost like a sexual.
It's self-love. It's narcissism.
Yeah, it's narcissism.
Aren't we wonderful with our beautiful woke opinions?
Yeah.
Us.
And self-flagellation, but not really. It's about virtue. It's quite complicated, but it's typical cult behaviour. And if you're inside it and they identify you as an enemy, then it gets very, very uncomfortable.
Vicious.
Yeah. Well, I had to leave, basically. Yeah.
Because they didn't agree with.
Well, it wasn't so much that. It was that they were so craven, and I'm talking about the whole sector here. I can't talk about the individual institution, but they were so craven in the face of Islamism and in the face of manic trans activists who wanted to essentially kill me. Then it was crazy.
Well, I'm glad they didn't, Philip.
I'm here.
I will see you on Sunday at the Battle of Ideas. I'll tell you more about that later. Really good to, as always, have Dr. Philip Kisley, Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum, around for an excellent hour. When we come back, we'll be joined by the equally excellent Darren Grimes, the Deputy Leader of Durham County Council. That next. Stay tuned.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Been looking forward to this for the next half an hour. We're going to spend it in the excellent company of Reform UK's Deputy Leader of Durham County Council, Darren Grimes. Welcome, Darren.
Good evening, Kev. Good to be with you as always, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Now, we started the show an hour ago, Darren, with a very concerning, worrying story, and I wanted to get your take on it. It's a syndrome that I think is going on in more and more areas all over Britain. You've been monitoring and watching, like the rest of us, I'm sure, the protests, the peaceful protests by parents outside the Bell Hotel full of asylum seekers in Epping, in Essex. What these parents are essentially worried about is that the asylum seeker hotel is quite near local schools. There's been a sexual assault on 2 local ladies. One was a 14-year-old girl. The guy's gone to jail. Eritrean guy has gone to jail for a year for those sexual assaults. So these are not invented concerns. Now, the story we did an hour ago concerns a primary school to the west of London, the West Drayton area, near Heathrow Airport. It's called the Cherry Lane Primary School, and it's right near the M4 motorway near Heathrow. And there's there it is. There's a huge asylum seeker hotel, a Holiday Inn, just on the other side of the motorway. There it is, 600 rooms in there. Now the migrants are staying there, nothing to do, mostly young men. They leave this place, they go into a pedestrian walkway, underground walkway that goes under the motorway, and here they are making their way to the green grassy area around this primary school. 640 kids at this school between the age of 3 and 11. These are the migrants being escorted by those constabulary coppers, those special officers. Here they are sort of gathering around the school. You're going to see in a second, there they are. You're going to see in a second, bearing in mind this is right next to a school. There they are. This is my favourite shot. 2 guys sitting on a school right next to the playground smoking a sheesh pipe. Now, no one is saying that any of these kids have actually been physically assaulted or sexually assaulted or anything like that. But the parents, the local parents, are saying our kids are going to school. This is going on outside the gates every day in every way. They're going to stage a kind of Epping-style protest on Saturday. But you've got hundreds of these guys every day milling around outside the school. In some ways, I don't want to be too blameful about them because they got nothing else to do. But this situation, underneath the subterranean pathway to the local school, 640 kids between the age of 3 and 11, and outside the school gates, people smoking sheesh pipes, hanging around, making a noise, being escorted by coppers. And one parent, we spoke to a dad, one of the dads, a concerned parent, Darren, and he said that the migrants are kind of picked away at the barrier between where they sit and the school, and they were sort of leering at the kids. So he went there himself and repaired this barrier. And it's all being reported to the police. The police apparently 3 weeks ago actually stood at the gates of the door of the school to keep the kids safe. And as I say, I think this is an increasing sinister problem that we have around this country. The proximity of large asylum seeker hotels to schools with young kids in them. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Kev, you're bang on there, right? You might say that actually this is a government that will focus on banning adverts or takeaways from children, but won't ban those who may not share our views, values and cultures from being in such close proximity to our children. Now, we've had several serious incidents this week alone involving so-called asylum seekers. Now, the Liberal left, the likes of the Labour Party and the Lib Dems, they'll say that this has all been blown out of proportion. But I don't think it is, Kev. I think it's actually been blown wide open. Look at the pattern from this week alone that you've been covering on this show. An Afghan man threatened to kill a prominent politician because of the fact that he was pro-border controls and actually wanted to bring about a sensible migration policy. Jailed, but not actually deported, by the way. There was a Sudanese suspect involved in a trial in the murder of a young mother. That trial goes on. He maintains his innocence, but it's a Sudanese man drawn up in it.
Accused of stabbing this poor girl who worked in the asylum seeker hotel 23 times with a screwdriver. As you say, he denies that offence, but that trial continues up in Wolverhampton. But again, feeds into the growing concerns.
And then 2 Egyptians and an Iranian man charged with a rape on a Brighton beach. That only came out today. So these aren't isolated incidents. This is a system important danger because our leaders are absolutely terrified of being called names like racist and all these other things, Kev. And I am so sick to death of it. The Liberal fantasy is that everyone arriving here instantly adopts British values, that they're all sat about eating their Marks and Sparks pork pie. Well, they don't. If you come here from countries where women are second-class citizens, or blasphemy is punishable by death, or that you hate Jews, you hate gays, whatever it might be, that mindset doesn't evaporate as soon as you get to sodding Heathrow, right? Integration, it isn't a magic spell. We're coming up to Halloween. Maybe this is what they think, Kev. It actually requires that you come to a country and want to adopt their views, values and culture. They're not doing this. The establishment has actually swapped a position of confidence for a position of cowardice. They'd rather actually insult the public, like those I spoke to you last week about the girls in Epping, the women and girls in Epping who had been protesting, the pink ladies as they've been called.
Yes.
Well, actually they were dismissed and smeared as bigots, as racists, as fascists. They would rather do that than actually admit that their immigration experiment is utterly failing and is actually having really perverse consequences for the British public. So many people from County Durham down to Cornwall are absolutely terrified, Kev. This is the reality, and we shouldn't be afraid to call it out.
Absolutely. And what I think is happening now, Darren, is you probably recall, it was something like 2-3 months ago that I think it was the Sun newspaper got together the shocking tally of the number of asylum seekers who have been charged with serious offences, many of them, or a significant number of them, sexual, many of them violent. As you know, the wheels of justice in this country grind slowly at a glacial pace. So these people, most of them are still awaiting trial. But it was frightening to see how many have been charged. Now, more and more of them are now getting into court and they're beginning to be convicted. So what we've got is the beginning, I think, of a tidal wave of convictions of these asylum seekers. I mean, maybe some of them will get off, maybe some of them are wrongly charged, but the public are going to realise increasingly, I think, over the coming months, the scale of this problem that we have in this country. And to wit, I'm going to play you a bit of video. You may have seen it before, but it is shocking and it plays right into exactly what we're talking about. This is an asylum seeker, Sudanese national, name of Abdul Mawi Ibrahim Adam. He's 27 years old, Swindon he comes from, or that's where he's been staying in an asylum seeker hotel. Now, when he came to this country in 2023, very unusually, by the way, he was convicted of breaking into the country illegally. I mean, he's about the first person I've ever heard of actually getting done for that. But so that was his unlucky fate, if you like. And he went to jail for 7 months. And when he came out, Britain's attitude was, well, you've done your time, off you go. So he just stayed in the country, and now this is what he did to a local girl in Swindon. Have a look at this. So this is in March. This is this guy, Ibrahim Adam, 27 years old. Now you'll see this now. That's a 17-year-old girl. All she's doing 9:30 at night on her way home from work. There you go. That's him trying to kidnap her. He's pleaded guilty to attempted kidnap. Thankfully, some good Samaritans managed to get her away from this guy, from this monster. But I mean, apart from the shocking nature of this video and what's going on, this is a guy who came here illegally, has been in prison, and we just let him, after he came out, we just let him stay, and then he goes and does this. This is the epitome of what's going wrong with our migrant crisis, isn't it?
I agree, Kev. And look, ultimately, if someone is willing to break our laws by breaking into our nation, do you not think they'll go on to break other laws, customs and culture within our country? It's called common sense. And actually, Kev, for you pointing that out, for the Sun newspaper, that august institution pointing it out, that actually there are a litany of these offences being committed every single day that we simply don't know about. Well, actually, they would be accused of xenophobia for that. I say no, Kev. I say it's called noticing. I say it's called paying attention. Britain can indeed be generous, but it can't afford to be stupid. Otherwise, the attacks on young girls, the murder of women is actually something that will become more commonplace. We have enough problems with our own homegrown perverts, paedophiles and all the rest of it, Kev. We don't need to actually import some of them to actually bring about attacks here at home. If someone threatens MPs, if someone attacks women, they shouldn't be rehabilitated. They shouldn't be given a second chance. They should be removed. They are not our problem. They were never our problem. But instead, we've built a justice system that actually forgives the foreign offender and gaslights the victim and those upset on behalf of the victim. If you remember in Epping, you know the lads that protested against it?
Yeah.
The lads got more time in prison than the person involved in it that was charged for sexually assaulting a child.
Yeah, he got a year
Can
and
you
they
believe
got
that?
2 years, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. We have this very lackadaisical... There are two areas where Britain has this sort of staggeringly lackadaisical attitude. The first is just the basic system where we let in thousands and thousands of young men of sexually active age, because most of them are young men between the age of about sort of 17...
And they lie about their age as well,
Yeah,
Kev.
yeah, but most of them are sort of between the age of about 16, 17 and 34, 35, something like that. So they arrive here, they break into our country illegally, they come across in small boats illegally, and we essentially say, welcome. There you go. We'll enjoy Britain. And then we have this other incredible area where our lackadaisical approach just takes your breath away, as we just saw with our friend in Swindon. We send some of them, the lawbreakers, to prison, sometimes for rape or paedophile offences, violent crimes. We send them to prison. They'll do a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever. They come out and we go, yeah, well, you've done your time. Off you go. I mean, you know, that guy, when he'd done his jail sentence, he shouldn't have been allowed to stay in this country for a couple of years and then try to kidnap a girl. He should have been deported. It is this sort of slapdash, couldn't care less, shrugging approach we seem to have to this ongoing invasion of unknown foreign nationals that is just jaw-dropping, isn't it?
It is absolutely jaw-dropping, and I think that's why actually so many people are losing their patience and are actually, you know, they say that Brexit has radicalised the British people. I'll tell you what's radicalised the British people, Kev. It's the total inaction from politicians who are so far up their own behinds. I can only suggest that I hope they spray it with some nice fragrance up there, because Honestly, I'm telling you right now, the British people just want you to start with the basics. They want you to deport every foreign offender as soon as possible. They want you to scrap automatic asylum for anyone that has come here with a conviction. We don't even check. You know, they throw their passports overseas with gay abandon, and we say, oh, well, come on in. Don't worry, we'll make a bed for you. Don't worry at all. Meanwhile, I've got residents in County Durham. Some of them are unable to actually get housing, and we have to allocate and prioritise people that have come here from foreign countries. We need to stop actually using compassion as a camouflage for incompetence, because that's exactly what Britain is at right now. And kindness is very quickly turning into a cost of British life. I do not believe any British life, British girl should ever be the price that we use for kindness. There is nothing kind about allowing this to go on untrammelled, unchecked in our country, and we are wholesale. I don't know if you've seen, Kev, but before you came on air, a independent MP, one of those MPs elected along the lines of Gaza, well, he's tweeted out he's tweeted out saying that actually Aston Villa, they've actually banned Jews, that is those who support a Tel Aviv football club, won't be allowed to attend the stadium to see Israel play. I don't know about you, but that isn't a sign of a virtuous, growing multiculturalism tolerance. It's actually the opposite. It's showing that one religion gets total carte blanche to dictate who can and can't attend football matches. Is that your idea of multiculturalism, Kev? Is that what Tony Blair told us that this great project would expand into? I really, really don't think so. I think we need to call this out. We need to be loud and proud about what it is, and the way in which actually this is transforming our country into something that absolutely no one voted for.
Absolutely right. I'm just looking at the Aston Villa story. I mean, Aston Villa, to hell with you. What a shocking thing to do.
I agree.
They're basically banning Jews. They're saying this is amid fears over safety and security. These are the fears of safety and security that basically happen with any away set of fans. There's always a certain amount of tension between fans. So
Kev, I'm a Newcastle United fan. I don't especially love Sunderland, but I don't think they're going to ban me, are they, from attending the stadium anytime soon? This is actually, it is extraordinary, isn't it? And it shows the signs of the sinking that we have taken as a country when this is seen as acceptable. Let's not forget, this is the football club that His Majesty, His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, actually supports.
Prince William's club, more for him, but that's a different issue. But I went to Aston Villa last year to watch my team. They beat us. They always beat us, Villa. So I've got other reasons to dislike that Birmingham-based club. But I'm just reading now, Darren, that this ban on the Tel Aviv fans, Jewish fans, let's call it like it is, the decision to ban them has been taken after consultation with West Midlands Police and their safety advisory group. So there's another problem. I mean, I've seen the way our police, the Met Police, police these pro-Palestinian marches, and it's not unreasonable to conclude that coppers are pro-Palestine and anti-Israel. This decision would tend to confirm that.
There's a moral cowardice, Kev. It says that actually those who are protesting, foreign men that we know nothing about, being moved into hotels in large swathes of young fighting age men who are being moved into these places wholesale. You cannot protest and say that you want these people deported without that being brought up in a court of law because you're worried about the safety and protection of women and girls. But you can say that you fear Jews coming to a local football stadium and have them banned from that particular stadium. Does that not go to the very heart of the issue that we have? It's this two-tier approach to absolutely everything. You can have multiculturalism as long as it doesn't offend the one religion that apparently gets more offended than any other. And that is the reality that we have to face. There are good, decent Muslims out there, don't get me wrong. But if we don't stand up and say that we cannot have this two-tier approach to everything from criminal justice to football matches, then we are lost as a country. That's what I think, Kev.
Well said, Darren. And I think this decision that you've alerted me to, this is anti-Semitic. This is an anti-Semitic decision. This is a Jew-hate decision. This is extraordinary. And I hope I hope Benjamin Netanyahu gets involved in this and remonstrates with Aston Villa, because this is just wrong on every single level. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Darren. Listen, let's go to break. And when we come back, I want to talk about the rape gang inquiry, or rather the rape gang inquiry that never was. We'll talk about that next. Stay tuned, folks.
I was actually speaking to Google about their AI image creator a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they're really pulling back from the whole copyright issue because they don't want to assume knowledge about the user. So, for instance, you know, if I create an image of me wearing like I don't know, like a Nike T-shirt and said, you know, I've got a collab with Nike, they would create the image because they don't know whether I do have a collab with Nike or not, and so they don't want to assume too much. So they're really trying to shift responsibility onto the user for what you're creating with the AI, rather than them being the sort of arbiters.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. I'm still with the Deputy Leader of Durham County Council, Reform UK's excellent Darren Grimes. Darren, let's talk about the rape gang inquiry, or rather the rape gang inquiry that doesn't seem to be happening. You will recall that Labour was extremely reluctant to concede that the worst sexual scandal in British history warranted a full public inquiry. Do you remember Jess Phillips saying, oh, we only need a few local ones? No. The reason they're reluctant is that most of these awful Pakistani Muslim men of Pakistani origin who were running these rape gangs operated in Labour-run councils, Labour-run areas. So Labour will not emerge well from an inquiry, should we ever get one. But then there was the Louise Casey report, which basically Starmer read, and even he had to say, this was in June, well, I've read it, he said, there's no way we cannot have a public inquiry. So yes, we now agree that we will launch a full public inquiry. Bearing in mind, it is estimated that there are 250,000 victims of this awful scourge, 250,000 young, vulnerable white girls, many of them underage, all groomed with drugs, drink, sexually abused, tortured. It's an extraordinary horror story. This was in, so Starmer finally kicking and screaming in June, said, all right, then we'll have an inquiry. Here we are, October, no sign of it. They're now saying, oh, well, you see, the thing is, we're having a real trouble finding anyone to chair this inquiry. Also, the remit and the parameters are a problem. What I interpret that to be is they're having trouble finding a chairman or chairwoman, chairperson, who will be friendly to Labour and friendly to the Muslim community that the Labour government doesn't want to offend. And also that the remit and the parameters the government wants them to basically be restricted so they don't look too bad in all of this. That's what I think is going on. Either way, it's another scandal that here we are, what is that, 5 months on, no sign of this inquiry even beginning to start.
Yeah, exactly right. There are so many members of the Labour front bench who are facing losing their seats at the next election because of the advent of there are pro-Gaza independents who are chomping at the bit to have them thrown out of their seats. Jess Phillips almost lost hers. Wes Streeting almost lost his. There are a number of them who are dancing on ice when it comes to actually holding on to their own seats. And that's what they ultimately care about. They care about power, not principle. Because if they did care about principle, they'd say, right, let's get someone in who knows a thing or two about this. That could be Maggie Oliver, for example, Kev, who, has been on this station many, many times before. Get her in. It's stalled for, again, after 4 months of Starmer actually announcing to it. And it wasn't an announcement, a principled announcement. He had to be cajoled into actually making that announcement. This ultimately was designed to stall, because every time this issue comes up, politicians promise action and then they hide behind the process once words like ethnicity or Islam actually appear. The truth, it terrifies them more than the actual crimes themselves. So those girls who were failed because of the fear of being accused of racism are going to be failed again, and there will be more girls that come forward saying this has happened to them and they've been failed too, because the police are so utterly terrified, the politicians are so utterly terrified of actually speaking truth. And that shows who's actually in power here. And I worry that actually the politicians are far too often kowtowing to some of the most obnoxious elements who do not actually believe in the rule of law when it comes to the sanctity of these girls and the fragile nature of women and girls and the protection of them, Kev. That's what I believe.
I think you're exactly right. And I think that as I say, we've got a whole new scandal here. This is the government trying to kick this can down the road. They don't want this inquiry. They made that very clear when the entire nation was demanding an inquiry earlier in the year, when the full horror of this began to emerge with the Casey report. The government tried to say, no, we don't need a national. We'll just, a few local ones. Yeah, we'll have a look at a few local. And such was the public outcry. Particularly after Louise Casey's report, that even Starmer had to say, OK, we'll do it. Now, they're just not doing it. And we've got to stress, Darren, that, make no mistake, this is still going on. There are still rape gangs operating all over the country. So it is an ongoing disgrace, I think.
It is, of course it is. And the officials will turn around and say, oh, come on, O'Sullivan, you haven't had your coffee the day. We're just saying that we want to get this right. It's complex. We want to get this right. And I say to them, complex only if you're allergic to bloody well honesty. That's what it is. We know what happened. We know what's happening. We know that there is a problem with Pakistani heritage men targeting white working class girls while police and councils looked away. All we're asking for is that people are held accountable for their actions. This isn't complicated. This is actual cowardice. This is bureaucratic paralysis dressed up as some kind of sensitivity training, that we can't trigger people, that we can't say the wrong things, we can't actually upset the multicultural apple cart. And I say to hell with that. They'll say, Kev, you're sowing division, even talking about this with that horrible old Grimesy on your show. Well, look, the division actually started when victims were ignored for the sake of community cohesion. There is no community cohesion anymore because facts aren't racist. The Casey Review said that. She isn't some swivel-eyed Tommy Robinson fan. She's actually a Labour peer who was put forward, a baroness who actually already confirmed the overrepresentation of Asian men within these gangs. Covering that up doesn't heal wounds. It actually pours salt in them. Nay, I'd actually say it pours acid into them, Kev. You are doing a great disservice, not you, of course, you'd be more common sense than them. They are doing a great disservice to not only the victims, but to the British public. Appoint a chair, get it done tomorrow. We'll want every data set. We want to know ethnicity. We'll want to know religion. We'll want to know area. Get it done.
Well done. Well said, Darren. Love having you on the show. Will you come on next week?
Of course I will.
It's great to talk to you. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much. Darren Grimes, Reform UK's Deputy Mayor of Durham County Council. I would suggest talking one hell of a lot of sense. Love old Darren. Right, let's go to break, and we're going to... Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Pipsqueak London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Happy birthday. It's his 50, well, it just was his 55th birthday. And where did he celebrate it? He's big into clean air, clean up the environment. He celebrated it on a bloody great super yacht, a planet-destroying super yacht. Hypocrisy, I think, is the word that springs to mind. We will talk about Sadiq's birthday party on board a massive super yacht. Not very socialist, is it? After this break, stay tuned.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Let's talk about Sadiq Khan. Now, of course, he's a clean air fanatic, a green, making London clean air, green, climate change, ULEZ, all that stuff. He's obsessed with it. My feeling about it always is, you know, if I wanted to breathe clean air, I wouldn't live in London, would I? I wouldn't live in the city. You know, but anyway, that's a different issue. Here he is, the big clean air fanatic. It was his 55th birthday recently. Where did he celebrate it? On board a climate-wrecking £268 million super yacht owned by the Pakistani-American billionaire Shahid Khan, against whom I will not hear a word, by the way. He is the owner of Fulham Football Club, my team. But he's got this massive 122-metre long luxury liner called the Kismet. It was moored near London Bridge, where the London Mayor was welcomed aboard for a distinctly unsocialist, ungreen celebration, which Sadiq Khan is now at pains to stress this event will be transparently declared. Well, I'm not bothered about that. I mean, but it just sums up to me the hypocrisy of the Green lobby. You know, it's always do as I say, not as I do. Let's talk to the author of Not Zero, columnist for The Spectator and The Sun as well, of course, Ross Clark. Welcome, Ross.
Good evening.
There you have it, another piece of excellent green hypocrisy. We're going to see a carnival of it next month at COP30 in Brazil, you know, where all the private jets will fly in and they're carving down rainforest in order to build a road to get there. And, you know, I mean, they'll all destroy the planet and they'll all talk about saving the planet. But here's Sadiq Khan on board a super yacht, which are not famous for being good to the environment, moored in London Bridge, hosted by Pakistani-American billionaire Shahid Khan. It's just sort of blatant hypocrisy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, God knows how much carbon emissions that yacht is responsible for, but I mean, it's far more than a 15-year-old Ford Fiesta, which falls foul of Khan's ULEZ expansion. But it's not illegal to have your birthday party upon a yacht owned by a multi-billionaire, but whether it's politically wise is a completely another matter. And remember, Lord Mandelson had a great attraction to very wealthy men with yachts and private jets and so on. Never did him any harm, did it? But I think that I don't know much about Shahid Khan other than he made his money in lorry bumpers and he owns Fulham Football Club. But and for all I know, he may be genuinely motivated purely out of friendship for Sadiq Khan and so on. But, knowing the super rich, I guess that they tend to expect something in return when they offer hospitality to senior politicians. And if you're Sadiq Khan, you ought to realise that. You ought to realise that you are possibly putting yourself into a position which might not look good if, for example, Shahid Khan wants to come back and make another bid for Wembley Stadium or something, and Sadiq Khan has to make some decision over whether, it does not look good for very powerful people like Sadiq Khan to be socialising with the super wealthy, because the obvious sort of conflicts of interest which occur in that sort of situation.
Indeed, yeah, exactly. I mean, Shahid Khan, he's got no particular track record for banging on about the environment, so he's forgiven. But I would say that as a Fulham fan. But I've got no objection to super yachts myself. I've got no objection to Shahid Khan having one and hosting parties on it. But for Sadiq Khan, no relation, by the way, but they are friends, by the way. It's not a good look. Well, moving on, in terms of the hypocrisy that tends to sort of distinguish our Green Warrior friends, next month we've got COP30. We did a story last week estimating that if it's like the last one in Azerbaijan, in Baku, that crazy Ed Miliband, will take between 450 and 470 British delegates flying all the way across the Atlantic into this place, Belém. Whereupon they'll climb into limousines and drive down this specially constructed 4-lane highway, which was built by destroying thousands and thousands of acres of rainforest to get to the conference centre, and that they will cause untold damage to the environment. I think we estimated that it was the equivalent of driving a car for something like 4,800,000 miles, and so on and so forth, and the carbon damage they're going to do, the British delegation alone, is just off the scale. This annual festival of frankly grotesque hypocrisy, where the private jets all fly in, I think the public are feeling increasingly nauseous about it. It is sickening to see, is it not?
Well, you'd think they'd try and set an example, wouldn't you, by holding this conference on Zoom or something, some kind of virtual conference. But no, they, really go to town, don't they, and fly their private jets and big hotels and so on. But it goes far deeper than that. And in terms of Ed Miliband, he's just, he's the one who is going to go there and, on a gas-guzzling jetliner and so on. But he's going to go there and he will come back and he will genuinely try to impose the policies which he has advocated in Rio. Most world leaders will go there and they will not take the same view at all. Last time round, didn't we? We had President Lula of Brazil, we had Justin Trudeau of Canada, who were both really hot on this wording of the communique. It was going to have to say we're going to phase out fossil fuels, not phase down fossil fuels, but we're going to totally phase out fossil fuels. And what did they do? They went home. President Lula has the ambition to make Brazil, I think, the 4th biggest oil and gas producer in 2030. Justin Trudeau, opened up some more Canadian tar sands for exploitation. They really went to town on their opening up their fossil fuel industries, while advocating to the rest of the world that everyone else should phase out their fossil fuels. So that's where the sort of even bigger hypocrisy comes in.
These were our estimations of what the British delegation, but bearing in mind, by the way, you can multiply it, 70,000 hypocrites will be descending on this place, Belém, next month, a couple of weeks. 450 of them at least will be British. Last year, Starmer went as well. I don't know if he's going this year, but he probably will. You know what he's like. He loves an aeroplane trip. Anyway, it will cost us, on the basis that 450 or so go, will cost us £4 million in terms of air flights and hotels. And in terms of the environmental damage, the carbon footprint that our delegation will inflict on the planet, it's the equivalent of 7.8 million kilometres of driving a car for 7.8 million kilometres, or taking 23,000 air flights round trip from London to Paris and back. 23,000. That's how much damage we're going to do to the planet. And they're going to get there, old Ed, and say, we've got to save the planet, we've got to stop all this damage, we're doing it all, we're going to say, I mean, they're destroying it, almost in one fell swoop, by all flying to Belém, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to cut your personal carbon emissions, I mean, by far the most effective way of doing it is by not flying. And, you can take a flight, you can easily, double your carbon emissions for that year. So, I mean, there's about half the population as well who never fly anywhere. So, when it comes down to sort of personal carbon emissions, people like Ed Miliband are right way out there at the top compared with the rest of the population. But of course, it's the rest of the population who can get lectured to. No, you can't drive your petrol or diesel car. No, you can't have gas central heating. You must have a heat pump and so on. And yet, the people telling us this, I mean, Ed Miliband's not the worst, but look at Al Gore's carbon.
Oh yeah, him, yeah. But I mean,
$20.
Ed is our clear and present danger at the moment. Really ridiculous. Ross, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for that. Ross Clark there, author of Not Zero, columnist at The Spectator and The Sun. When we come back, we're going to talk about another environmental piece of madness involving Keir Starmer and alienating Donald Trump yet again. Stand by for that in just a minute.
I was actually speaking to Google about their AI image creator a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they're really pulling back from the whole copyright issue because they don't want to assume knowledge about the user. So for instance, if I create an image of me wearing like I don't know, like a Nike t-shirt and said, I've got a collab with Nike, they would create the image because they don't know whether I do have a collab with Nike or not, and so they don't want to assume too much. So they're really trying to shift responsibility onto the user for what you're creating with the AI, rather than them being the sort of arbiters.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
We've run over a bit, so let's go straight over to my next guest. We'll explain the story when he comes on. He is the chairman of the Republican Overseas Organisation here in London, but he is an American and he is currently in God's own country. We haven't seen him for a while. A warm welcome back to the show to the great Greg Swenson. Hello, stranger. Can we hear Greg? He's frozen after all that. I do the great big intro and he gets frozen. Well, we'll get him back and I'll explain the story. Basically, Keir Starmer, having alienated our old ally Israel by recognising Palestine, Netanyahu remains furious, and that's why Britain had no part whatsoever in the peace deal, the ceasefire deal negotiated exclusively by Donald Trump. Nothing to do with Britain at all, because we've alienated Israel by recognising Palestine. He's now alienating Donald Trump by he's going to support a ludicrous, stupid move by the United Nations, the useless United Nations, to impose a global net zero tax on shipping. So ships going around will have to pay a net zero tax. The White House, Americans estimate that will raise domestic prices for consumers around the world by at least 10%. Now, Donald Trump specifically asked Britain not to back this. Keir Starmer has done so. Greg is back now. Hello, Greg. Greg, are we there? Is he there? Is he there?
Hello, Kevin.
Oh, hi, Greg. Hi, I've got you. Now, you know about this story that Donald Trump asked Britain specifically not to back this crazy, stupid net zero tax on global shipping, which the White House estimates will put up consumer prices all over the world by 10%. Keir Starmer has ignored Donald Trump and is going ahead and supporting this nonsense, this virtue signalling green nonsense. Now, I just said while you were frozen on Zoom, we haven't got long now, mate, but if you can just handle it quickly, that he's already alienated our old ally Israel by recognising Palestine. That's why we in Britain had nothing to do with Donald Trump's remarkable achievements in the Middle East. Nothing to do, even though we tried to claim it, we were nothing to do with it because we recognised Palestine. Now, he's going along with this net zero claptrap from the useless United Nations, alienating Donald Trump. Do you think he's trying to destroy the special relationship as well?
Well, I think he's trying to do two things. Maybe destroy that, but also, be on the wrong side of every major decision, right? I mean, obviously he blew the
This is a bad link.
To be aligned with the United States in negotiating with Israel and Gaza. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't. But
this is a really bad link. Where is Greg? Can someone He's in Washington. It's a very remote town. You can't get good links. I think this is not going to work. Should we try and get him back one? I don't know. Yeah. Listen, we'll get Greg on tomorrow. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. So Greg would have backed me up. I just think, he's wrecked our relationship with Israel by recognising Palestine. Donald Trump says, look, don't go along with this nonsense from that idiot Antonio Guterres, that left-wing lunatic who runs the United Nations, and yet we've done it. We're going to back this tax on all global shipping, net zero tax, green claptrap, and it's going to cost you 10% on your consumer prices. Unbelievable. 03444991000. Sadly, the link to Greg was too bad. We'll get him on again soon. Let's take a quick call. Let's talk to Simon in Worcestershire, who wants to talk about a story that has infuriated me. I don't know about you, about Aston Villa. Hello, Simon.
Oh, okay, there you go, mate.
I'm all right.
Yeah, mate. I'm a Villa fan.
Yeah.
And because I go through all the fan bases and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not just me that infuriated about it. It's like there's a few others, and we are in support for the opposition, obviously Tel Aviv.
Yeah, but Simon. I'm really glad that you phoned up on behalf of Villa fans, because I know Villa fans. They're decent people. This is an indecent decision. This is anti-Semitic. I mean, I go to football. I came up to Villa Park last season. You beat us, you sods, and you beat us at home as well, didn't you? You always beat us.
Yeah.
But there's always a slight tension between away fans. But because these away fans are Jewish, it seems the police have told Villa to ban them.
it's further abroad than that, mate. It's between like the Birmingham Council and UEFA. Between them two, they've kind of pressured us because we're actually looking to expand our stadium and that. So we've got to go through the Birmingham Council. So I think it could be a little bit of a pressurised thing. I don't think our people like it.
I'll tell you what, Simon. I'll tell you what's going to annoy me this weekend. It's going to annoy me anyway. Are Villa playing at home this weekend?
No, playing at Tottenham, actually.
Okay, yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. The point is that for some reason this weekend, before the games, I'll be at Fulham watching Arsenal beat us, no doubt. The Premier League players are going to once again take the knee to stamp out racism, to fight racism. This is a racist. This is a racist decision to ban Jewish fans.
Of course it is. We see, as a Villa fan, I see it, and most of the people I've looked at on the fan bases, they see it as what it is. Yeah. It is,
it's anti-Semitic, isn't it?
We're not going to play that. We're not playing that game.
That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary.
Yeah,
it really
I mean,
is.
To be fair, it'd be good if the Villa Iraqi open up the away side. And if we could have some representatives of our fans in that side, that would be quite a good.
Well, yeah, it's just ridiculous, Simon. As I say, they'll all be taking the knee. What's it called? No room for racism. No room for racism. All taking the knee once again. For some reason, they're going to resume that ridiculous empty ritual this weekend. And yet, you've got Villa making this racist decision to ban fans on the basis they're Jewish. It is unbelievable. I cannot believe it. And it's good to know that the Villa fans are the decent people I know them to be and that they don't like it either. Simon, great call. Thank you very much for ringing. Simon in Worcester, a Villa fan, a representative, I think, of thousands of Villa fans who are just as disgusted by this decision to ban Jewish fans from Tel Aviv for a game at Villa Park as I am and as I'm sure you are. Let me know what you think. After the break, we'll come back to this and then we'll talk to Kinsey Schofield. So much still to come. Stay tuned.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. We're going to go to Kingsley Schofield in about 5 minutes, but I think we need to dwell on this extraordinary story unfolding in Villa Park, Birmingham, where Aston Villa play. Villa Park, a big stadium there, was there myself last season. Fantastic stadium, great fans. Most extraordinary decision, a racist decision if you ask me, an anti-Semitic decision. On the alleged advice of the local police, Aston Villa, the football club, has banned fans from Tel Aviv. They're called Maccabi Tel Aviv. Good team. They're due to play Aston Villa. And they've been banned. The away fans, the Jewish fans from Tel Aviv, have been banned from going to Villa Park on the grounds of safety. Well, this is ridiculous. I mean, you know, there's always grounds of safety when away fans go to a ground. You know, football matches are not exactly, perfectly harmonious occasions. There's always a bit of tension. This is these people have been specially picked out because they're Jewish. This is anti-Semitic. This is racism. As I said before the break, this weekend, for some reason, they're reviving the practice of Premier League footballers taking the knee because there's no room for racism. That's their slogan, to stamp out racism in the game. And then Aston Villa make this decision. It's just extraordinary. Now, one of the local Birmingham MPs who has lobbied for this ban, he's a Muslim. His name is Ayub Khan, and he is the MP for Perry Bar, local area. He says, he's just tweeted, I welcome the news that Maccabi Tel Aviv fans will not be permitted to watch the match at Aston Villa. Well done to all those who signed our petition. So this guy, this Muslim MP, Ayub Khan, the MP for Perry Bar, got up a petition to ban Jewish fans from going to Aston Villa, to Villa Park. This is just unbelievable. This is just sponsored racism. He said, this is his statement. He's a barrister, apparently. Barrister Ayub Khan, MP, just put this statement out. I welcome the Safety Advisory Group's decision to advise that Maccabi Tel Aviv fans will not be permitted to attend Aston Villa on the 6th of November. From the moment that match was announced, it was clear that there were latent safety risks that even our capable security and police authorities would not be able to fully manage. With so much hostility and uncertainty around the match, it was only right to take drastic measures. Sports entertainment events should be enjoyed by all. He didn't say apart from Jews, of course. No, he says sports entertainment events should be enjoyed by all, regardless of their race, ethnicity and background. Correct, Mr. Khan. You're absolutely right. But he goes on to say, but there are rare instances where the political dynamics surrounding such spectacles cannot be ignored, and where drastic action must be taken to ensure the safety of fans, players and staff and local residents. I am glad that this reality has been acknowledged in this case, and I am grateful to Aston Villa FC, Maccabi Tel Aviv SC, West Midlands Police and the Safety Advisory Group for all their work to listen to our community's concerns. Now is the time to ease tensions, set aside political differences and focus on the football once more. This guy got a petition up to ban the Jewish fans from coming to Villa Park to play Aston Villa. Here's a video he made about a month ago. Have a look.
Many residents have raised concerns about the football match which is due to take place on the 6th of November. Maccabi Tel Aviv. We've all seen those harrowing images from Amsterdam. I've started a petition to boycott Maccabi Tel Aviv. There is no space for violence or any thugs to come into Aston or indeed Birmingham. That is why I urge everyone to sign up to this petition. Boycott Maccabi Tel Aviv.
I think we know what's going on there, don't we? We know why he wants to boycott them, don't we? We do, don't we? I mean, this is sinister. This is getting very, very serious. Aston Villa, come on. Come on. This is unbelievable. Aston Villa, great football club. What are you doing? What are you doing? This can't go on. This is madness, absolute madness. Well, listen, we're going to go to Kinsey Schofield now and talk about some royal matters. But when Kinsey and I finish our conversation, I want to hear from you, particularly about this. 03444991000. Have we seen a blatantly anti-Semitic, racist decision by Aston Villa Football Club, admittedly with the advice of Westminster Police and the Safety Advisory Council? Have we seen, by all those bodies, including Villa, a anti-Semitic, racist decision? I think we have. I think we have. I had that Villa fan, Simon, just ringing up, say that's what a lot of Villa fans feel. They don't like this either. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. Let me know what you think. You can send me a message if you like, or WhatsApp voice note 03444991000. And now that I've got that off my chest to a certain extent, I'm absolutely furious. I don't know what you feel. I'm a football fan. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this in the British game. This is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Right, on that bombshell, let's go over to Los Angeles, and I can calm down in the calming company of my friend Kinsey Schofield. How are you, Kins?
Good, Kev.
Good to have you on board. Sorry to keep you there. Quite an extraordinary story developing over this side of the Atlantic. But let's talk about Meghan. I want to talk about all sorts of aspects of her frantic week that we've just experienced. But story cropped up today. You know, we're used to Harry getting involved in charity scandals, sent to Bali. He flounced out of his charity for African kids in a race row. He was accused of racism and white saviorism, and he flounced out. He denies those charges, of course. And then there's the problem with his other charity, African Parks. They're embroiled in scandal now. And now Meghan is going to have to cope with being embroiled in a charity scandal, insofar as a charity for which she is a global ambassador called World Vision, kids charity as well, African kids. The British branch of that is being investigated by the Charity Commission here over allegations that its British office is a toxic environment, toxic and hostile environment, where complaints by staff of racism, sexism and homophobia were either ignored or silenced by the bosses. Now, the charity, World Vision, denies this, but they are under investigation. Now, this is a very famous connection between Meghan and this charity, because when she met Harry, when she was first going out with him in 2016, she went to Rwanda for World Vision as a global ambassador, and there's a very famous picture of her, which in those days endeared us all to her, of her cuddling this African boy. It's a lovely picture. So that we thought, oh, she's a wonderful woman. We were to learn a different kind of truth as the years unfolded. However, she is now going to have to learn what it's like to be embroiled in a charity scandal. And of course, no one is saying in any way this is her fault. She's over on the other side of the Atlantic. But she won't be pleased to be connected to this, will she?
No, I mean, it's, you know what they say, you are who you associate with. And lately, Meghan Markle's name has been showing up in more controversies by proxy. It's a reminder of one of the clearest weak spots in the Sussex brand. They don't do their homework. They accept associations, they accept endorsements, titles, or partnerships without fully mapping every possible risk. And when things go wrong, when scandals erupt or internal workplace culture is questioned, their silence or delayed distancing, it looks bad. Worse, it looks negligent. I mean, you don't just pick your missions or your causes. You pick your partners, you pick your people, you vet the cultures, you visit the boardrooms, you talk to staff, you see whether the values they advise match what they actually enforce, because it's one thing to issue press statements, it's another to have internal policies, accountability structures, and transparency, which if you look at the chaos that's brewing and the three charities you just mentioned, there's issues in all of those categories. Harry and Meghan have taken big swings, global engagement, media deals, foundations, advocacy, but many of their moves also seem reactive rather than proactive. When the Senabale scandal broke, accusations of bullying, misogyny, leadership dysfunction, Meghan was silent. It was Harry that faced the fallout. Yeah. Even when investigations concluded there was no widespread wrongdoing, the perception is very damaging. And the fact that they tend to stay so quiet when things blow up in their face, brand management is about minimizing collateral damage. It's about laying down your guardrails in advance. It's about understanding that once you attach your name or your face to something, you own some of its reputation forever. And this is a hard lesson that these two are having to learn since they've stepped back as members of the British royal family.
Yeah, indeed. And you're so right. I mean, old Meghan, even though she was sort of tangentially involved in the sort of unravelling of Senabale, because Sophie Chandorka, the leader of the charity, felt that Meghan had upstaged her at one of these polo events.
Upstaged is like, it was disrespected. Yeah. It wasn't upstaged. Yeah. It was disrespected, because I don't think Sophie Chandorka needed to stand up there next to Meghan Markle. It was Meghan Markle elbowing her and removing her that she felt was rude.
But the point was that this was essentially Harry's problem. I mean, in a sense, Sophie Chandorka and the other African representatives of Senabale felt that the Harry's style of leading this charity, they didn't like it. He raised money at these posh champagne polo events full of multimillionaires in Florida, and they felt it smacked of white saviorism. So it was a race row, really. And Harry took all the flack, and when that trouble unfolded spectacularly, massive headline-hitting scandal all over the world, old Meghan was conspicuous by her absence. We didn't hear a word from her. Well, she can't be conspicuous by her absence now that World Vision seems to be in the frame, can she?
Well, she will be. I hate to break it to you, but she will be. I mean, in the court of public trust, even old associations are live wires. Look at Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. And unless you do the hard work, due diligence, accountability, integrity, those wires will open you up to criticism, sometimes more criticism than you ever anticipated. And again, in the court of public opinion, proximity matters, past and present blur. Photos are still online, like you just said. Events are still remembered. In the digital age, background checks, deep archival digging, old press trips, everything can be repurposed, and it often is. This doesn't just matter for Harry and Meghan, and we see that the Wales family, they're so good at this. It matters for anyone who builds a public platform, especially those who frame their identity around social justice, advocacy, and humanitarian work. If you associate with causes without careful vetting, you build vulnerabilities. And when a brand is vulnerable, African Parks Charity, every misstep or every delayed response is magnified. Meghan knows that you are who you associate with. That's why she invites herself to Paris Fashion Week, and she attends high-profile events. Yeah. She makes she makes associations with charities or causes that she thinks make her look good. But I think that's all for her, just a part of building visibility. Visibility doesn't exist in a vacuum. The people and organizations you align with become part of your brand. They don't just bolster you. They also risk bringing you down. Look at the chaos surrounding Tyler Perry and the accusations of sexual harassment from previous co-workers or people that worked underneath him. That's Lily's godfather. When scandal hits, the question becomes, do you shrink back, deny everything? Do you step up, own the associations, dissect what went wrong, execute cleanups? These people just, that's when never complain, never explain is suddenly convenient to them, that this motto that they have villainized since stepping back from the British royal family. And one of Harry and Meghan's greatest weaknesses has always been this gap between intention and execution. Their stated values are often big, but their structures of accountability and their processes for choice and their consistency and follow through are much less visible. And that gap is exactly where scandals and damage tend to happen.
Yeah, and who can forget in terms of Meghan backing out as soon as there's any kind of aroma of trouble. Jessica Mulroney, her best friend in Canada, who took such a prominent role in Meghan's wedding to Harry. Her kids were bridesmaids of honour, weren't they? And was dropped like a stone the moment she got involved in a race row. Meghan just dropped her like a stone, doesn't talk to her anymore. So, you know, she runs a mile at the first sign of bad publicity. Well, now she's not going to be able to run away from World Vision. As I say, no one is saying this is her fault. But it's not a good look. Talking of not good looks, she went to this, well, we talked earlier in the week about this blizzard of activity that she's treated us to. Paris, New York, Washington, blah, you know. She does this, doesn't she? Every now and then you don't hear from her for a month, and then suddenly she's here, she's there, she's everywhere, you know, in your face. I think she pines for publicity. You know, she's a fame chaser, a shameless fame chaser. Anyway, she goes to Washington for this Fortune Next Level Influencer Conference. And she takes to the stage, and also other losers like Kamala Harris are there. So she takes to the stage, she gets interviewed about her business empire, such as it is, and starts talking about her Netflix deal. And even by her, you know, word salad standards, you know, you can never understand a word she talks, unless you speak Californian psychobabble. She's very difficult to understand. I mean, here she is, rabbiting on, garbling on, gobbledygooking on in Washington. Have a listen to this.
When I was on Suits, that was my last time really in a position with a very large team. We had a crew of 200 people. And I worked on the show for 7 years, and I loved the crew. I love that experience and the culture that's on set as well. And so I think being able to now have my own business, it's very different than being on set. And even the set for With Love Meghan, that's a crew of 80 people. It's still a very large crew. But for my business, I've been very decisive about having a lean team. I think you want to have a great soundboard of people that are with you and with varied points of view. You want someone who's going to push back. You want someone who's going to be so creative and savvy in a space that might not be my skill set. So I love creating that culture, having that camaraderie with my team, and playing and being curious, constantly just pushing the envelope to ask the questions of how can we show up in a way that truly indicates that we are putting care into every detail.
I mean, you know, could you say that again in English, please, Meghan? And then she went on, Kinsey, to talk about her Netflix deal. Basically, like the Obamas, she got dumped by Netflix. She had a $100 million contract. When it came to an end, they said, well, we're not paying you any more money, but first, if you come to us first, a first look deal, then, you know, if we don't want it,
the same deal that you and I have with Netflix.
Exactly, that everybody does. Yeah, exactly right. Now, she talked that up as if it was the contract of the century. It's not. And then she sort of spoke in terms of how it was fabulous that, well, if you cut through all the verbiage, the nonsense, the difficult to understand gobbledygook, the psychobabble, she basically said, Netflix has dropped me. There won't be any more series of With Love, Meghan. And then she said, I'm going to concentrate now on short films. What that means is Instagram posts, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she does the same pivot and tries to distract from the actual question when asked about expanding into being in physical stores. She tap dances around that and says, well, maybe we do small runs in limited editions. And, you know, I was having this conversation with someone else. No, if you could be in Target or Walmart, you would. The reason she's not in those places is because she's not actually pushing a lot of product out the door. And because she would have to release the analytics if she did partner with a legitimate business. There's no way that Target or Walmart would hide the actual sales numbers from a company like Bloomberg or the Wall Street Journal. Everything she does is so carefully controlled so that she can continue to grift. Same with podcasting. She could have stayed at Spotify. She moved over to Limonada because Limonada is not going to release the actual stats of how many viewers, how many listeners actually tuned into her podcast. You know, I think what she continues to do is find these places that will perpetuate this lie that everything's great and everything's going well and she's rocking and rolling. And Fortune, I would put in that category.
Exactly right. And she was also asked during that interview whether or not she would consider a cookbook or maybe even editing a magazine. And her answer began with, I love paper. I love the sentimentality of paper.
Well, she worked at Paper Source. Yeah. She made sure we know she worked at Paper Source. Yeah, obviously you love paper, Meghan. Chill out.
Yeah.
Save the trees.
Well, you're from America. You live in California. Can you explain to me what the sentimentality of paper is?
I think it's Meghan just kissing the butt of a magazine in front of her because the next line is from the host, well, we can help you with that. And she's like, now I know who to call.
Oh,
and it's very cringeworthy. But yeah, that entire thing was so awkward and I mean, so orchestrated. And I don't know what the ultimate objective was. If I were to do these PR blitz that she does every few months, like you said, she does do that. All of a sudden, she's doing interviews with Emma Grande and Jamie Kern-Lima, and she's sitting on the Drew Barrymore stage. Yes, occasionally she does these little blitzes. But if I were in charge of her PR, I'd want one solid theme. So everybody that caught her at Paris Fashion Week in New York or Washington, D.C. understood what she was trying to do. Yeah. And I didn't see that. I just saw Meghan looking for attention and trying to find the nearest camera.
Really good point, Kinsey. You know, she's committing the cardinal sin of publicity. She's confusing people. You know, you've got to work out what your mission is and then try to explain that mission clearly. Now, as I say, she speaks fluent Californian psychobabble, so she's pretty much incapable of explaining anything clearly. But what we've seen in the last week, you know, she's in Paris, you know, oh, I'm the catwalk queen or the queen of the style scene. Then she's in New York, Humanitarian of the Year award, but not really, because she's making videos of Harry in the background and she's eating pizza and here's her clothes and here's her high heels. Oh, then she's off for lunch with the editor of American Vogue. Then she goes to Washington, starts talking about As Ever again and all that. You think, well, hang on. What is it you're trying to tell us here? What are you doing? You know, yes, people are seeing you, but what are you telling us? I mean, you know, she wants to make $1 billion. Who wants to be a billionaire? She does. But there's no direction. It's like a sort of spinning dervish, just lashing out all over the place. Everybody's going, what exactly is it that you are up to?
Yeah, what exactly do you stand for? I mean, if you look at the Archwell motto, it's show up, do good. I mean, they leave it vague again, so nobody can hold them accountable for not showing up very often or doing much good. If they were specific in what their mission was, then people could hold them accountable and say, well, why weren't you at this? And why didn't you contribute in this way? But we don't know what her mission is. I watched one of the speeches that she gave at the World Mental Health Day Summit.
That was in New York.
It was good.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was good. She did a great job. She clearly studied her script. She knew some of the stats that were important to get across when talking to a room full of people that were passionate about the same thing. That's truly what she should be uploading to Instagram, that speech. But instead, we got a montage of her closet, her high heels, and someone shoving sushi in their mouth.
Yeah.
Like
Don't forget slices of pizza as well.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand. Like, she wants to be the fun time girl. It's interesting because she really tries to create a distance between her and social media during that Fortune talk. And she says that she has a weird relationship with social media. Again, perpetual victim. But as ever will continue to expand in the social media space, but not her, because she's not necessarily comfortable with it and the feedback. That's a lie, because she loves posting those videos. She loves posting that content. There's clearly not an intelligent strategy happening, because the only thing really I would have posted from New York was the speech she gave at the not accepting an award where she's, patting herself on the back. But day 2, when she's talking about the statistics and why children are so vulnerable online, she for 2 seconds sounded like an intelligent individual that I would trust with this information. She needs to lean more into that authority. But she desires to be at Paris Fashion Week. She desires to be on the cover of Vogue. Her ambition to be famous is larger than her ambition to make an impact.
Absolutely, and those 2 Instagram posts you and I discussed the other day, the inappropriateness of the New York post, where she's there to pick up an undeserved Humanitarian of the Year award, but that isn't to denigrate the excellent work of Project Healthy Minds, all about mental health for kids and everything. So it's a serious mission, and as you said, she did, to be fair, she made a serious speech. Well, what was her Instagram post while in Manhattan? It's her with pizza and high heels, and Harry grinning like a gormless git in the background, like a old ginger nut standing there. And then there was another one of him in a sort of sweatpants doing the same thing. And there he's in the background, and I thought, there you have it. This is in my view, this is a very lopsided relationship in which she takes the lead. And this, for me, these 2 videos are always with her in the foreground, him grinning in the background. One of them, he's not even in sharp focus. I thought, there you go. That is a pictorial metaphor for their relationship. Her starring role, glittering, high heels, flash stuff, him in the background wearing sweatpants.
Well, I think that the most telling part of the Fortune conversation was at the very end. She is talking about financial independence, and she says that there shouldn't be anything taboo about talking about your financial independence and our independence overall. And then they don't refer to
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and they don't talk about Prince Harry or the Duke of Sussex. She only refers to him as her husband. Like, I think that she's trying to make him appear smaller when she says that.
Yeah.
Why are you the Duchess of Sussex and he's not the Duke of Sussex? When someone talks about your husband, they should, if you are the Duchess of Sussex sitting on that stage, it should be the Duke of Sussex or Prince Harry. When she just says my husband, she's lowering him.
Yeah. And what would you think, just the last question really, Kinsey, I just was reading a report. I
can't believe, last question, I can't believe you haven't even acknowledged the award she got this week, the other award she got this week.
Okay, well, all right, I'll do the last question in a minute. What other award did she get?
Can you believe
I get lost, there's so many. She wins.
Meghan Markle has won a gold award in the Business People and Entrepreneurs Shaping Culture category of the Signal Award, which aims to recognize meaningful podcasts.
Are you serious?
She nominated herself, by the way. And so, yes, another award for Meghan Markle.
Wow, that's a hell of an award. I mean, you know, there was me thinking she didn't really deserve the Humanitarian of the Year award, and then you tell me she's won an award for making great podcasts. Well, in terms of not deserving an award, that one takes the biscuit, or the cookie, as you might say in America, right?
This is the same podcast that was being beaten by white noise on the podcast.
That's right. How to get to sleep. I know how to get to sleep. Listen to Confessions of a Female Founder. That'll put you straight out, guaranteed. I can't even remember what my last question to you was.
Sorry.
It was. What was it going to be? Yeah, what's Harry up to then? Or what, in all this? What is he actually doing? It's all her, isn't it?
I think that he's desperate to get back in with the British royal family because he knows that that's his only outlet, that that's really his only opportunity to shine. And what's so sad is that Meghan keeps jeopardizing that by sitting on the Fortune stage, talking about how she was healing after stepping back as a member of the British royal family. Well, of course, our minds immediately go to those nasty villains over in Buckingham Palace that made the less than 2 years of her life where she was a princess a nightmare from hell. I think that he really would like to get back in with the royal family, and I think she jeopardizes that.
Yeah, I know what my last question was. It was this, that you know, we just talked about more and more talk of the marriage being in some trouble, but I think there's always tension in that marriage because they're very different. You know, she's a kind of a desperate fame chaser, and he doesn't even understand that because he's a member of the British royal family. So he's been famous since the moment he was born, and always will be. So she doesn't, you know, there's some very different people in that respect. She's chasing money, money, money. She wants to be a billionaire. Again, he doesn't really understand that sort of thing. I think he's struggling for cash now, we know that. But that's not the point. He's a member of the royal family. The royals always expect money to come round the corner somehow, some way, and it probably will. So I think that is always... there's always tension in that relationship, and I know what my final question was. It was this. I can't remember if I read it in the Mail online or the Daily Express online, but somebody had written a piece about Meghan being in Washington, and they referred to her as the former royal. How do you think she'd like that?
Oh, I think she'd loathe that. I think that would drive her up the wall. No, she wants you to know she is the Duchess of Sussex, making jam upside down with her tongs in Montecito.
Yeah, no. She's the queen of haute couture now. You know that. She's got a new job. Next week she'll have another one, and we'll talk about that. Kinsey, really good to talk to you. Cheered me right up. Have a lovely weekend. We'll talk on Monday. Kinsey Schofield there, host of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. I think I'm on a podcast this week as well, so always good to talk to Kinsey. Well, I was in a right old state before I went over to Los Angeles to talk to Kins, because I'm personally furious as a football fan about what Aston Villa have done. Banned supporters of Tel Aviv, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Jewish fans. This is after a petition and a campaign by a local Muslim MP in Birmingham. There's something really badly wrong here, don't you think? Taking your calls after this break, so let me know what you think about this, particularly if you're a football fan, particularly if you're a Villa fan. We already heard from one Villa fan who just said that many Villa fans were just as disgusted by this as the rest of us. I think this is a blatant anti-Semitic, Jew-hating decision, banning Jewish fans from a British football match. I can't believe it. Let me know what you think. 03444991000. Let's talk about that after this break.
case went ahead when the Conservatives were in power because the MI5, all the institutions said categorically they pose a threat. In fact, MI5 said they pose the greatest threat to the freedom of the United Kingdom. The old twisted can't lie straight in bed man himself, he then absolutely refused to do this. Why? Because they're kissing the backside of China at the moment because they want a trade arrangement and they were desperately worried that China would get really hacked off with them for prosecuting them for spying. The Prime Minister is a dead herring, a kipper, and he's well and truly smoked.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. We've only got 20 minutes left of the show, but I want to talk to you about Aston Villa in particular. You can call me about anything else as well. 03444991000. Before we go to the phones, I'm going to remind you of what the local Muslim MP, the MP for Perry Barr, an area of Birmingham, his name is Ayub Khan MP. He launched a campaign and a petition to ban Jewish fans from Tel Aviv from coming to Villa Park, and indeed he has succeeded. This is what he said a month ago.
Many residents have raised concerns about the football match which is due to take place on the 6th of November. Maccabi Tel Aviv. We've all seen those harrowing images from Amsterdam. I've started a petition to boycott Maccabi Tel Aviv. There is no space for violence or any thugs to come into Aston or indeed Birmingham. That is why I urge everyone to sign up to this petition. Boycott Maccabi Tel Aviv.
So, do you think that that Muslim MP is actually worried about violence? Or do you think that his objections to Tel Aviv playing Aston Villa, or the fans from Tel Aviv coming to the Europa League game on November the 6th, do you think there may be other reasons why he doesn't want Jewish fans in the city of Birmingham? What do you reckon? 0344 499 1000. He has tweeted tonight that he's thrilled with this. He's thrilled that Aston Villa and West Midlands Police and something called the Security Advisory Board have decided no Jewish fans must be allowed into Aston Villa, Villa Park football ground. I think this is anti-Semitism, don't you? I think it's Jew hate. I think it's as simple as that. I don't see how you can dress this up in any other way. I've never seen, in this country, certainly not for many a long year, away fans being banned from a match, particularly a European match. It's part of the tradition of the game. Fans, travelling to other countries to watch their teams play in the Europa League or the Champions League or so on and so forth. This is disgusting, folks. Well, shall we take a call on it? Let's talk to Ashley in London. Hi, Ashley.
Evening, Kevin. I mean, it's not laughable, but it is actually laughable because you've played those clips and it's just proven what a damn right liar the guy is, right? And his goal from the outset is just to stop. It's like Germany in the 30s, it's like isolate, push them away, and blame it on something else. And I can see it, you can see it. I just wish other people could see it. It's more and more happening. I mean, ultimately, what should have happened is that Villa should have either agreed to play with no fans in the ground, which would have been a shame, or it should have been if our wonderful police in that area can't handle it, which they should be able to do, then it should be sent and played in the country or a place where they can. And it's you're giving an advantage to a competitor, but ultimately this is exactly what's happening to us Jews in this country at the moment, and that is that it's demonised, subliminal information, messages, and then whack, this is the reason why we've done it. And it's happening continuously, and it's frustrating, upsetting, but it seems like so many people just don't want to see it or just haven't woken up.
Look, Ashley, as a Jewish man, Ayub Khan, this MP, for Perry Bar in Birmingham. He says, it's because they're very violent fans. They're very violent. Launched a petition and a campaign to ban them. He's a Muslim MP. Do you think it's just the violence potential that he's worried about? I don't. What do you think?
Well, clearly the people that maybe are supporting him, they might come and create the violence. I mean, if he's talking about Amsterdam, it was actually people over there rather than the actual Maccabi team that created it. And if you just have to Google it to see that
I've seen it actually, and it wasn't that great. But I mean, come on, we've seen all sorts of away fans causing trouble in foreign towns, and I don't think that the actual Tel Aviv fans were necessarily always starting the fights. I think they were picked on as well. So, I think in Amsterdam, I'm not condoning what we saw there, but it was half a dozen of one and six of the other, as it so often is with football hooliganism. You don't hear, Arsenal are coming to Spurs. Ban the Arsenal fans. This could be problematical. You never hear it. I think this is anti-Semitism, don't you?
Oh, it's 100% hate. That's what it is. It's hate. It's hate. The intent here is for a very specific reason, and that is demonising us as people, and it is horrific. And it's getting, at the moment, it seems to be getting worse. And it's happening in the schools, it's happening at workplaces, and it's now happening in hospitals, and it's also happening now with football. And as I said, I'm sorry to go back to Nazi Germany, but that's exactly what happened.
Well, it's beginning to feel more and more like this, Germany in the 30s, the rise of anti-Semitism. And, Ashley, thank you for calling. And, just know that many of us, millions of people in this country, we still stand with Israel, and you stay strong, yeah? Thank you very much for an excellent call. Ashley, Jewish man, talking about this outrageous ban, I think. I've got a quick message here. This is from Paul in Margate. He says, evening, Kev. As a lifelong football fan, following both Football League and non-league formats of the game, I'm despairing at the news emanating from Aston Villa tonight. Does this mean Spurs fans will in future be barred from attending future Tottenham matches at Villa Park? It's anti-Semitism at its ugliest, vilest, most grotesque, worst. God help us. Well said, Paul. Well said. Now, I'll play some WhatsApp voice notes in just a second. But Lenny from Ashford is making a very good point. We're going to put him on the line in a second. This weekend we're going to see the return of that ludicrous empty gesture, Premier League players taking the knee. No room for racism. Stand up against racism. Well, I'm saying Villa Park and the West Midland Police and the Security Advisory Board, whatever the hell they are, Safety Advisory Board, have just made a racist decision. Lenny from Ashford. Hello, Lenny. Very good point. It's awful, this, isn't it?
Well, good evening, Kevin. I mean, I'm not religious at all, so I'm impartial. But what it is, I believe it's another nail in our coffin, making us the laughing stock of the world.
Well, I think it's worse than laughing stock. I mean, I cannot, for the life of me, interpret what's happened. This ban on Tel Aviv fans coming to Villa Park on November the 6th to play in the Europa League. I can't interpret this ban in any other way than it is an act of anti-Semitism. It is racist against Jews, don't you think?
Yes, I totally agree with you. And the saddest thing and the frightening thing, it shows who's controlling our country at the moment.
Well, certainly, shall we say, and I don't want to sort of talk about all Muslims, but this is a campaign run by a Muslim MP who's, in my view, hidden under the cloak of safety and hooliganism and all that. But he's so thrilled tonight that he's succeeded. It took this huge campaign and decision, petition and everything. So, yeah, I think it's a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. Lenny, I've got to move on, but well said, good call. Lenny in Ashford, let's go to break.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome back. Sadly, the show's very nearly over, but the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, for once has come out and said the right thing. He said that blocking Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from attending Aston Villa in Villa Park for the Europa League on November the 6th is the wrong decision. Kemi Badenoch branded the decision a national disgrace. She wrote that Starmer should guarantee that Jewish fans can walk into any football stadium in this country. If not, it sends a horrendous and shameful message. There are parts of Britain where Jews simply cannot go. So Aston Villa, that's the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, both in harmony on this. You've got to reverse this decision. You've got to let the Jewish fans come on November the 6th. You really, really do. Otherwise, this is a very dark day, not only for football, but for this country. It really is. You've got to reverse this decision. It is wrong. It is anti-Semitic. It is clear Jew hatred. It's disgusting. Shall we quickly play some WhatsApp voice notes? Well, let's. I can't. I always promise to play all of them. I can't do all of them. But this is Daz on Aston Villa.
That is disgusting of my club, and in the morning I will be sending my season ticket back and I will not go and watch them again. That is disgusting. I love the Villa, but they can have my season ticket back. I'll keep my money. That is disgraceful. I'll go down the Blues. That's how bad it is.
He's going to go support Birmingham. Daz, seriously, mate. Very powerful. What's that? So an Aston Villa fan with a season ticket, he said he's going to send it back. Aston Villa, change this decision. West Midlands Police and your Safety Advisory Board, or whatever you call them, hang your head in shame and reverse your decision too. You've got to let these Jewish fans come to watch their team, Tel Aviv, play Aston Villa on November the 6th in the Europa League. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. This is important. This is really important. Very quickly, by the way, Harry Cole Saves the West comes on after the news. We've only got about 4 minutes left. Sorry, very, very packed show tonight. But this story broke in the middle of the evening. Let's quickly talk to Carol in Stevenage. Hello, Carol.
Hello.
As you might have noticed, I'm pretty disgusted by this. How do you feel?
Absolutely disgusted. I support Tottenham Hotspur, and this has been going on for so long now.
Well, I mean, of course, not all Tottenham fans, but Tottenham fans, many Tottenham fans, it's known as a sort of Jewish fan club.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is blatant anti-Semitism, don't you think?
100%. I mean, we get hissed at. There's certain fans that will hiss at us.
Yeah, it's so wrong, Carol. Carol, listen, I've registered your fury. I've got to move on. I'm going to take another quick call. I've got to get through some of these calls. We're going to do this fast. But thank you for ringing, and I'm with you all the way. Carol from Stevenage there. Here's Michael. I'm not sure. Michael, hello. You think the Villa fans should do a guard of honour for the Tel Aviv fans?
Certainly should, yes, because Villa have held so many semi-finals, so forget about the trouble. Let's get our English country back, and let's get back to normality.
Yeah, well, the normality in this country is tolerance, racial tolerance. This is racism. This is racism, and this is
without a shadow of a doubt, this is racism. And where's it coming from? It's not the English.
Well, this MP, Khan, the guy from Perry Bar, he's launched a sort of passionate campaign to ban the Jewish fans. Got a petition up. He's thrilled tonight. He's thrilled. Says it's all to do with hooliganism. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. We cannot kowtow to this man and his anti-Semitic campaign to ban Jewish fans from Villa Park. Villa, you've got to change your mind. Good call from Michael there. I think we've just got time to squeeze in one last call. This is Ian in London, who I think is sharing all of our rage on this. Well, what do you think, Ian?
Hi, Kev. Very quickly, two things. first of all, Khan's petition was 3,000 people, and who was top of the list that voted for it?
Go on.
Jeremy Corbyn. Does he live in Birmingham?
Seriously?
No,
Seriously?
Honestly,
Yeah.
Jeremy Corbyn is on the list of people that voted for it.
That's
Also,
disgusting.
the people
It's
to
typical of
blame-
him, isn't it? Typical of him.
The people to blame, really, is the West Midlands Police, because Aston Villa have written on their website, right, very quickly, Aston Villa can confirm it was taken away from them. It was
Well,
nothing to do
look,
with them.
I mean, sure, okay, let's cut Villa some slack. I mean, I understand if the police tell them this, I guess they've got to go along with it. But the police, West Midland Police and Aston Villa must reverse this decision. It's really important, otherwise this is a dark moment in British history. It really, really is. So West Midland Police, wind your neck in, do the right thing, tell Villa they can let the Jewish fans from Tel Aviv come to the match on November the 6th, or else all hell will break loose if you don't do this. This is madness. This is anti-Semitic madness. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. This is terrible, terrible. Ian, thank you for an excellent call. Listen, the show's almost over. I think I better go before I actually explode in rage. Harry Cole saves the West. He'll be coming on in just a little while. And after that, it is Ash Gould and Andre Walker taking you into the small hours from 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. You have been warned. But Harry Cole saves the West next, our new live show from America. In the meantime, you've been an amazing audience. It's been an eventful show. I'll be back again tomorrow for another edition of the Political Asylum at 7 p.m. I expect you to be there.